Gallery Experience. How to display art. Episode 5. Should all the paintings be the same size? Walk into an exhibition and look at the paintings for a moment. Some are enormous. Some are medium-sized. Some are very small. You may notice that your eyes move differently from one painting to another. A large painting can immediately command your attention. A small painting may make you move closer. A medium-sized painting may feel comfortable and familiar. So here is an interesting question. Should all the paintings in an exhibition be the same size? At first, it might seem like a good idea. If every painting is the same size, the exhibition could look organized, clean, professional, consistent. But there is a problem. If everything is exactly the same, the exhibition can become visually flat. Nothing surprises the eye. Nothing creates a change in rhythm. And the viewer may begin to feel that every painting has exactly the same importance. This is why different sizes can actually make an exhibition more interesting. Think about music again. A song doesn't use the same volume from beginning to end. There are quiet moments. There are louder moments. There may be a dramatic climax. Then the music becomes quiet again. Size can work in a similar way. A large painting can act like a loud note. A small painting can act like a whisper. The contrast creates rhythm. Imagine walking into a room and seeing 6 paintings that are all exactly the same size. Your eyes can move from one to another very easily. But there is little visual surprise. Now imagine 5 medium-sized paintings and one enormous painting at the end of the wall. Your eyes immediately notice the change. The large painting becomes an event. The size creates anticipation. But there is an important warning. Different sizes don't automatically create good design. If the sizes are completely random, the exhibition can look chaotic. The goal is not simply variety. The goal is controlled variety. There should still be a visual relationship between the works. For example, you might place 3 small paintings together. Then a large painting. Then 2 medium paintings. The group of small paintings becomes a visual unit. The large painting creates a pause. The medium paintings continue the rhythm. The viewer's eye moves naturally. This is very different from simply hanging paintings wherever there happens to be space. Another important question is the size of the room. A large painting may look magnificent in a large gallery. But put the same painting in a very small room, and it can become overwhelming. The viewer may not be able to stand far enough away to experience it properly. This is something artists sometimes forget. We think about the size of the artwork. But we also need to think about the size of the viewer's experience. A painting needs enough distance to be seen. A large painting often needs more distance. A small painting often needs less. This means that the architecture of the gallery should influence your decisions. Don't choose the arrangement first and then try to force it into the room. Look at the room. Look at the walls. Look at the doors. Look at the windows. Look at the lighting. Then decide what the artwork needs. There is also something psychologically interesting about small paintings. A small painting can create intimacy. Imagine a tiny portrait hanging alone on a large wall. The viewer may have to walk toward it. They may become curious. What is this small image? Why did the artist make it this size? Why is it alone? The viewer approaches. And suddenly the experience becomes personal. A large painting can overwhelm us. A small painting can invite us. Neither is better. They simply create different experiences. This is particularly important when displaying portraits. A huge portrait can feel powerful. It can almost feel as though the person is standing in the room. But a small portrait can feel private. It may feel like a secret. A quiet encounter between the viewer and the person in the painting. The artist's choice of size can therefore become part of the meaning. The same image painted very large can communicate something completely different from the same image painted very small. Scale is not merely a practical decision. It is an artistic decision. Think about a landscape. A very large landscape can make the viewer feel as though they are entering the scene. The mountains may appear enormous. The sky may dominate the room. The viewer's body becomes small in comparison. Now imagine the same landscape as a small painting. It may feel like a memory. Something you carry with you. Something you can hold in your mind. The subject hasn't changed. The scale has changed. And the emotional experience changes with it. This is why artists should think carefully before choosing the size of a painting. Don't ask only, "What size can I make this?" Ask, "What size does this idea need?" Sometimes an idea needs to be large. Sometimes it needs to be intimate. Sometimes the size should surprise the viewer. Sometimes the size should almost disappear. And when you are preparing an exhibition, think about how those different scales interact. One mistake is putting all the largest paintings together. Imagine walking into a room and seeing 3 enormous paintings side by side. They may compete with one another. Each one is demanding attention. The room can feel heavy. Instead, you might separate them. Place one large painting in one area. Then create a quieter section. Then another large painting later. Now the large works become landmarks. They guide the visitor through the exhibition. Another mistake is hiding small paintings among large ones. Imagine a tiny watercolor surrounded by enormous colorful canvases. The small painting may disappear. No matter how beautiful it is, the viewer may never notice it. If a small painting is important, give it the right environment. Perhaps give it more space. Perhaps group it with other small works. Perhaps place it at eye level. Perhaps use lighting to help draw attention to it. Size doesn't determine importance. But presentation can determine whether the viewer notices. This is especially important for artists selling their work. A buyer needs to understand the artwork. They need to see its details. They need to imagine where it could live. A large painting may be perfect for a large living room, hotel lobby, or corporate space. A small painting may be ideal for a bedroom, office, hallway, or intimate corner. Different sizes can therefore expand your audience. But the exhibition should still make the differences feel intentional. So should all paintings be the same size? No. And should every painting be a different size? Also no. The goal is balance. Create relationships. Create rhythm. Create moments of surprise. Allow the eye to move. Let some paintings speak loudly. Let others speak quietly. And remember that size is part of the language of an exhibition. A large painting can say, "Come closer. Look at me." A small painting can say, "Come closer. Look carefully." And sometimes that small voice can be the one you remember. Because a successful exhibition isn't about making every painting identical. It is about creating a visual rhythm where different artworks support one another. The large painting gives importance to the small one. The small painting gives intimacy to the large one. And the spaces between them allow the viewer to move naturally through the experience. So when you prepare your next exhibition, don't ask, "Should all my paintings match?" Ask, "How can their differences work together?" Because sometimes the most beautiful exhibition is not perfectly uniform.